Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we're talking about where people come from or nationalities.
That's right. Many people come from many different countries, just like our listeners, and there are specific words or adjectives and nouns to describe people. Like, for example, somebody who is from China.
A Chinese person.
That's right.
So in your case, Marco, you are an Ecuadorian.
That's right. So that means I come from the country Ecuador.
I, on the other hand, am an American. I come from America.
That's right. So we have a lot of these examples. Why don't we jump into the dialogue? Let's see where all of the people from this international class are from, and we'll be back to talk about it.
Hey, how was your first day of class? I'm in level 2 and I'm loving my class this semester. It's great being in a class of international students.
Mine was okay, except that no one in my class speaks English. I guess it will force me to converse in Chinese more in class, so at least I should improve a lot this semester.
That's both fortunate and unfortunate. It's the United Nations in my class. We have people from all over the world. There are 3 Germans, a Pole, a Scot, 2 French, an American, a Brazilian, a Chilean, a New Zealander, though he prefers to call himself a Kiwi. Who else do we have? Oh, we have a Moroccan, a Togolese, a Pakistani, and 2 Indonesians.
That's quite the array of nationalities. Everyone in my class is from Asia, except me. There are a few South Koreans, several Japanese, Malaysian, Thai, Singaporean, Filipino, Kazakhstani, and 1 Russian.
Well, I think you're pretty lucky, actually. You'll have the opportunity to learn so much about Asian culture.
I guess so. But I think it's going to be hard to relate to my classmates, especially with the language barrier. I think I might change classes.
Don't! Stay the course! Your spoken Chinese will be eternally grateful. I bet you it will even surpass mine with all that practice.
I highly doubt it. Your girlfriend is Chinese.
Well, there is that, yes.
So the student jokes that their class is kind of like the United Nations. So it does sound like it. We have so many different nationalities that we're going to look at them in 2 groups today. But the United Nations, as you know, is a political group that has people from all over the world who make decisions about politics and the environment, things like that.
That's right. So why don't we take a look at these nationalities now on Language Takeaway.
Language Takeaway.
The first few are from Europe. So these are some European nationalities. We've got German. Where is a German from?
A German is from Germany.
Okay, so next to Germany, we have another country, Poland. What do we call a person from Poland?
You call that person a Pole.
So is this for a woman and a man, or is this just one gender?
Yeah, it's for both.
Okay, so Pole.
Yeah, a girl that's from Poland would be also a Pole. Now, someone that comes from Scotland, on the other hand...
That would be a Scot. Or if it's a man, a Scotsman.
Scotsman, okay. Now, this is interesting because we are mentioning the nouns of these nationalities, like, for example, German. Now, when we took a look at Pole from Poland, what would be the adjective? Do I say I am Pole?
I am Polish.
Okay.
Or if you want to use the noun, I am a Pole.
Okay.
But the adjective can be used for things as well. I love to eat Polish sausages.
Okay. Or, for example, something from Scotland, you can say, I love Scottish whiskey.
Or I love Scottish kilts, those skirts. All right, so that's the adjective. But in the case of France, the country France, we have to say, as a noun, he is a Frenchman.
Okay, and if it's a woman, a French woman.
That's right. Or in the case of an adjective, I love to eat French bread.
Okay, now moving on to South America, we took a look at a Brazilian and a Chilean.
Okay, so Brazilian. Mm-hmm. In this country, there are many Brazilians. Mm-hmm. And Chile, or Chile, as many Americans say, mm-hmm. Has people called Chileans.
Mm-hmm. Some people say Chilean. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, I guess the accent varies a little bit Now, why don't we move back to the other side of the world? We have a New Zealander.
All right, so many of you have heard of Australia. Maybe New Zealand is not as famous. It's a small country near Australia. And the people who come from there are called New Zealanders. It's very hard to say those sometimes, especially when we have to use the adjective New Zealand.
That's right. So the student said he prefers to call himself a Kiwi.
All right, so kiwi was a special kind of bird that could only be found in New Zealand, and so this became a very popular symbol for New Zealand. And now people from New Zealand call themselves Kiwis. So I could say I have many Kiwi friends.
That's right. Okay. Kiwis. So now if we go to the African continent, we have Moroccan and Togolese.
So Morocco is in North Africa, and a person who comes from there is Moroccan. You can also say, I like to eat Moroccan food, which is very
right.
popular. But when we talk about the country Togo, what do we call a person from that country?
Togolese.
Togolese.
Okay, so it's Togo. That's the way you pronounce it. Because if you look at it, I would say to go. Right, but it's not to go, it's Togo.
Or as my French-speaking friends would say, Togo.
That's right.
All right, so that's our first set of nationalities. Let's listen to today's dialogue one more time, and we'll be back in a moment to discuss the other nationalities.
Hey, how was your first day of class? I'm in level 2 and I'm loving my class this semester. It's great being in a class of international students.
Mine was okay, except that no one in my class speaks English. I guess it will force me to converse in Chinese more in class, so at least I should improve a lot this semester.
That's both fortunate and unfortunate. It's the United Nations in my class. We have people from all over the world. There are 3 Germans, a Pole, a Scot, 2 French, an American, a Brazilian, a Chilean, a New Zealander, though he prefers to call himself a Kiwi. Who else do we have? Oh, we have a Moroccan, a Togolese, a Pakistani, and 2 Indonesians.
That's quite the array of nationalities. Everyone in my class is from Asia, except me. There are a few South Koreans, several Japanese, Malaysian, Thai, Singaporean, Filipino, Kazakhstani, and 1 Russian.
Well, I think you're pretty lucky, actually. You'll have the opportunity to learn so much about Asian culture.
I guess so. But I think it's going to be hard to relate to my classmates, especially with the language barrier. I think I might change classes.
Don't! Stay the course! Your spoken Chinese will be eternally grateful. I bet you it will even surpass mine with all that practice.
I highly doubt it. Your girlfriend is Chinese.
Well, there is that, yes.
All right, we're back. So now we have more nationalities prepared for you. So let's take a look at those now on Language Takeaway Part 2.
Language takeaway.
We're in Asia for this part of today's lesson, so we're going to start with a country called Pakistan. What do we call the people from Pakistan?
We say they are Pakistani.
Okay, so in Chicago, for example, there are many Pakistanis.
Okay. And moving on to Southeast Asia, we have Indonesians.
All right, Indonesia is the country, and people who come from there are Indonesian.
Okay, very good. Now if we go back to the north part of Asia, we have South Koreans.
So we have North and South Korea on our maps. A person from North Korea is North Korean, and a person from South Korea is South Korean. It's kind of like that same structure, American, Brazilian, Korean.
Very good. And moving to the island of Japan, we have Japanese.
So this is an adjective. We're talking about a Japanese person. He is Japanese. Or we can also talk about the food, like sushi is Japanese food.
That's right. Okay, moving back to Southeast Asia again, we have Malaysia. So people from Malaysia are called Malaysian.
Okay, again with this pattern. Malaysian, Korean.
That's right. And I think you say Malaysian food or you say Malay? I've heard some people say Malay.
I've said Malaysian food generally, but Malay I think is one of the languages, and I think it's an ethnic group as well. So you can have Malay people in Singapore, for example.
Okay. And actually we have Thai people and Singaporean. So we have 2 countries there, Thailand and Singapore.
So Thai is the adjective to describe things that come from Thailand. It's kind of unusual. It doesn't fit that pattern that I mentioned, but it's a very important one to remember if you like to eat food from this country, Thai food.
Yeah, excellent food. And Singaporean food is also pretty good, and people from Singapore are also called Singaporean.
Here we've got a very tricky one. We've got the country, the Philippines. What do you call a person from the Philippines?
So the Philippines is actually spelled P-H-I, like Philippines, right? But if somebody is from the Philippines, we say Filipino with an F.
All right, Filipino. This is interesting, especially for people who are native Spanish speakers, because the Philippines was a Spanish colony for a very long time, and so you might hear someone refer to himself as a Filipino if he's a man, or if she is a woman, a Filipina. So this is very similar to the Spanish structure of having a gender on the end of the word.
That's right. And well, now we're moving on to Kazakhstan and Russia. We have people that are from Kazakhstan and Russia, and we say they are Kazakhstani.
So this is very common in that part of the world to end the adjective in an I, like Afghanistan, Afghani, Pakistan, Pakistani, Kazakhstan, Kazakhstani.
Right.
And so these are the stands, the former USSR.
That's right.
So this is a very important structure to remember. But Russia is pretty easy.
Yeah, people from Russia, you say they are Russian, or you have Russian food. Really
I love
good.
Russian food.
All right, so we have a lot of different nationalities there, and obviously we didn't cover all of them. I think, I don't know, maybe 200 nationalities. So why don't we listen to the dialogue again, and we'll be back to talk a little bit more about this really interesting topic.
Hey, how was your first day of class? I'm in level 2 and I'm loving my class this semester. It's great being in a class of international students.
Mine was okay, except that no one in my class speaks English. I guess it will force me to converse in Chinese more in class, so at least I should improve a lot this semester.
That's both fortunate and unfortunate. It's the United Nations in my class. We have people from all over the world. There are 3 Germans, a Pole, a Scot, 2 French, an American, a Brazilian, a Chilean, a New Zealander, though he prefers to call himself a Kiwi. Who else do we have? Oh, we have a Moroccan, a Togolese, a Pakistani, and 2 Indonesians.
That's quite the array of nationalities. Everyone in my class is from Asia, except me. There are a few South Koreans, several Japanese, Malaysian, Thai, Singaporean, Filipino, Kazakhstani, and 1 Russian.
Well, I think you're pretty lucky, actually. You'll have the opportunity to learn so much about Asian culture.
I guess so. But I think it's going to be hard to relate to my classmates, especially with the language barrier. I think I might change classes.
Don't! Stay the course! Your spoken Chinese will be eternally grateful. I bet you it will even surpass mine with all that practice.
I highly doubt it. Your girlfriend is Chinese.
Well, there is that, yes.
All right, we're back. So, talking about nationalities, I think there's one that we didn't mention that's very, very popular. People from Ireland.
Okay, so people from Ireland are called Irish.
Irish.
The Irish or Irishmen. This is a similar structure to a lot of those countries in Northern Europe, like Sweden and Finland.
That's right. So somebody from Sweden would be called Swedish.
Yes, or a Swede is the noun. So I love to eat Swedish food like salmon. But the similar structure applies to Finland. In Finland, they're very famous for their Finnish bread.
Finnish. So that's the way that you say Finnish with double N, right?
That's right. It's not like I finished my homework. It's
Right.
like F-I-N-N-I-S-H, Finnish.
Finnish. And now what about people from Denmark?
They are Danish.
Danish. Mm-hmm. And what about people from Norway?
They are Norwegian, so that's one that does not fit the pattern.
And this is a very interesting one that also doesn't fit the pattern at all. People from Holland.
Okay, so Holland as a country has 2 names. We sometimes say Holland. We sometimes say the Netherlands. But a person who comes from Holland is called Dutch.
Dutch.
He is Dutch.
That's right. So it doesn't have to do with neither Holland. You don't say a Hollander, or Netherlands. You don't say Netherlander. It's Dutch.
Dutch. You'll also read this on like cookie tins. You know, boxes for cookies, Dutch style cookies.
That's right.
All right, so that's a very important one when it comes to food. But we're very curious to hear about where you come from. You should try some of the new vocabulary words that we have introduced here. Talk about your friends or your family, but also tell us if we didn't include your nationality.
That's right. All right, so we'll see you guys there.
EnglishPod.com. Bye.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
An international political organization. United Nations. A large group or quantity of people or things. Array. Chance. Opportunity. Trouble communicating because speak different languages. Language barrier. Remain or persevere to the end. Stay the course.
Let's try that faster.
Trouble communicating because speak different languages. Language barrier. A large group or quantity of people or things. Array. An international political organization. United Nations. Chance. Opportunity. Remain or persevere to the end. Stay the course.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
United Nations. She has friends of all different nationalities, and they teach her a lot about different cultures. United Nations. This city has cuisine from many different countries. You could say it's the United Nations of dining. United Nations. Our office is like the United Nations. We have employees from all over the world. Array. Erica has an array of dolls she collected from all her travels. Array. There was a large array of people at the party, and I had a lot of fun getting to know everybody. Array. She has an array of accessories to choose from every morning. Opportunity. If I make a good impression today, he might give me the opportunity to work for his office full time. Opportunity. I am moving to the city where there are more opportunities for me. Opportunity. Even though you messed up, I will give you an opportunity to fix the problem. Language barrier. At first, it was hard to relate to my Chinese roommate because of the language barrier. Language barrier. Even though they seem to really like each other, the language barrier makes it hard for them to have a deeper relationship. Language barrier. There are some expressions that are universal, regardless of the language barrier. Stay the course. Even though it might seem impossible, I'm sure that if you stay the course, you'll definitely find a solution. Stay the course. We will meet some challenges, but we will succeed if we stay the course. Stay the course. Even though the war is going badly, the president has decided to stay the course.
Today we've got an upper intermediate level lesson for you all about money.
That's right. We are trading money. We're actually negotiating in this very popular topic nowadays, the whole foreign exchange market.
Okay, so we're talking about currency, which is the money of different countries. For
Right.
example, the currency of Ecuador is...
The US dollar. Yeah. Hard to believe, but
What?
true. I'll tell you all about it later.
Okay. Well, the currency of America is also the US dollar. So with that in mind, let's listen to today's dialogue.
Hey, John. I haven't seen you in ages. What's new? What have you been up to?
Pete, nice to see you. Well, on top of the norm, wife and kids and work, I've actually gotten into doing some trading.
Trading? You, big guy? What are you trading?
Currencies.
Currencies? As in euros, dollars, pounds, and rupees?
It's called Forex, foreign exchange. The great thing about it is that I don't have to invest a huge amount. I put in a margin deposit and then I can buy and sell up to 100 times that much.
I don't understand. You're buying and selling money?
You got it. Just last night I made $150.
Last night?
Yeah, it's a 24-hour market. I'd bought some renminbi earlier at a low asking price, but last night it appreciated drastically. So I made a split-second decision and sold all of my RMB at an amazing bid. I've also done some trading with Swiss francs and Australian dollars and Hong Kong dollars. I've made some good profits, but I've also suffered some losses. It depends on a lot of factors, just like any other market. In total, I've made about $500 in the past few months.
You're kidding! I'm on. Where do I sign up? All right, we're back. So this guy is trading currencies, as we heard. And, well, we're going to talk about a lot of the specific vocab that he used about this topic. So why don't we take a look at some of those now in Language Takeaway.
Language takeaway.
Well, the first thing I think we should talk about is one of the first things that he says, actually. Peter says, I haven't seen you in ages.
I haven't seen you in ages, right? So obviously he hasn't seen him in a long time, and that's what in ages means.
That's right. So we haven't seen each other in ages.
So what other ways can we use in ages or the word ages?
Well, you could actually say it's been ages.
So that means it's been a long time.
It's been a long time, or we haven't gone out for ages.
Okay, so then you can use it with four ages.
For ages, in ages. So the key word here is ages, which means a long time.
Long time. Okay. And, well, he hasn't seen him in ages, and the guy's like, well, you know what? I've actually gone into trading.
So that means he started doing some trading.
Right. Now, trading is a very broad word because you can trade, as in this case, currencies, which is basically to buy and sell currencies.
But you could also trade stocks, right?
You can trade stocks, or even people that are involved in import-export. They are involved in trading.
Trading. So basically trading is buying and selling something.
Right. So you're trading. You are exchanging a product for money, or money for a product.
But the difference is you're not actually making any products.
Right. Okay, so that's called trading. You're not really manufacturing anything. You're just exchanging goods and services and money. All right. So that's for trading. Now, moving on, he was explaining how the foreign exchange market works. And he says, I don't have to invest a huge amount. I put in a margin deposit, and then I can buy and sell up to 100 times that much.
So, Marco, here's the question. What is a margin deposit? Because a deposit is basically money that you invest somewhere or that you pay in.
Right. Well, basically, a margin deposit is like a percentage. So he basically puts in a percentage of what he intends to buy. So, for example, a margin deposit of $1,000 might be $1 or $10.
Okay, so maybe if it's $10, you're talking about a 1% margin.
Exactly. So that's what he means by a margin deposit, and that's why he explains that you don't have to have a large amount of money in order to trade in the foreign exchange market. You just put in a margin deposit, and then you can work around that.
Well, it sounds pretty easy, but then he explains some more details about it, and it gets to be a little bit more complicated.
That's right. He explained about how he makes money and how he bought some Chinese renminbi, and then he sold it because it appreciated drastically.
So he bought it when it was cheap, and he sold it when it was expensive. So the price changed.
Right.
So this kind of price change, when something goes from cheap to expensive, it's called appreciating. Appreciation. So the verb is to appreciate.
It's very different from using it in the sense of you appreciate someone, right? Like, oh, I really appreciate you.
Yeah, no, it's very different. We could say this about most goods or investments. For example, my parents bought a house in 1970, and the value of the house has really appreciated over the last 40 years. So now the value is much, much greater.
And actually, just mentioning it while we're on the topic, to appreciate, as you say, is something becomes more expensive. The opposite, when something becomes cheaper or maybe the value goes down, is to depreciate.
Depreciate. So that D at the beginning means it's going down.
Right. Okay, and moving on to our last word for language takeaway. So when he was talking about selling the Chinese currency, he said that he sold it at an amazing bid.
Okay, let's talk about bid here. B-I-D, bid. What does this mean?
So to bid is to place an offer for something.
Okay, so for example, at an auction, when someone is selling many old objects or some art, I can bid $100.
Right.
And maybe someone doesn't accept my bid. But if they do accept my bid, then I pay for it.
Right. So basically, a bid is just another way of saying an offer. You're offering a certain amount of money for that product or that service, and you see it a lot, for example, on eBay, right?
That's right. So eBay is an auction website, basically, and someone who's selling someone can see many, many bids, and they select the best bid.
Exactly. So that's what a bid is. So that's all we have for language takeaway. Let's move on now to Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
Marco, what have you been up to lately? I never see you.
All right. This is actually a very common sentence. What have you been up to? But most English learners don't really understand what it means.
Well, this is a really interesting point because I say this all the time. This is very native, very colloquial. What have you been up to?
It's almost the same as saying, what's up?
What's up? Or where have you been recently? What have you been doing recently?
Right.
How's your life?
Right. So this part, up to, what have you been up to? It doesn't really say much if you translate it literally. But basically it's, what have you been doing? What have you been spending your time on?
So to be up to means to do something, to do.
Right. And there are many other definitions of up to, but in this case, what have you been up to means that. What have you been doing?
So next time you see a friend you haven't seen in a week or two, you can say, what have you been up to?
All right. And John answers, well, on top of the norm, wife, kids, and work. That phrase right there, on top of the norm.
Well, the norm here means the normal. That means basically normal life. I've been working, I've got my kids, my wife, on top of the norm. Just life is normal.
Right. So the norm are the wife, kids, and work. On top of that, I'm actually getting into trading, right? So the normal situation, the normal life is wife, kids, and work. And then he's saying, on top of that, I've actually been doing this.
Exactly.
Okay. And now moving on to when he's explaining again the market and the currencies, he talked about an asking price.
Okay, asking price. Remember we were talking about bids? We could say that someone has an asking price, which is the price they would like to receive for an object or a service that they are selling. And so, for example, I'm going to sell my desk. My asking price is $100, $100. Maybe you don't want to pay that much, but my asking price is the way that I'm going to start. That's how much I want for it.
Right. So that's your asking price. That's how much you ideally want to sell it for, but you can negotiate. You are willing to accept maybe a lower offer.
Exactly.
Okay. And what is our last phrase?
A split-second decision. This is really, really important. These words go together very often. Split-second and decision.
Okay, so that basically means that you made a very quick decision.
That's right. Split second. Very fast. It's almost like it's less than a second. And so a split second decision means a decision in no time. It's very, very quick.
So we can actually mix split second with other things, right? For example, so maybe you can say he reacted in a split second and avoided the crash.
Okay, so good for him. He reacted quickly enough to avoid the accident.
That's right. So split second, very fast, very quickly. A split second decision, a decision that was made very fast. Okay, so that's all we have for Fluency Builder. Why don't we go back, listen to this dialogue one more time, and we'll be back to talk a little bit more. Hey, John. I haven't seen you in ages. What's new? What have you been up to?
Pete, nice to see you. Well, on top of the norm, wife and kids and work, I've actually gotten into doing some trading.
Trading? You, big guy? What are you trading?
Currencies.
Currencies? As in euros, dollars, pounds, and rupees?
It's called Forex, foreign exchange. The great thing about it is that I don't have to invest a huge amount. I put in a margin deposit and then I can buy and sell up to 100 times that much.
I don't understand. You're buying and selling money?
You got it. Just last night I made $150.
Last night?
Yeah, it's a 24-hour market. I'd bought some renminbi earlier at a low asking price, but last night it appreciated drastically. So I made a split-second decision and sold all of my RMB at an amazing bid. I've also done some trading with Swiss francs and Australian dollars and Hong Kong dollars. I've made some good profits, but I've also suffered some losses. It depends on a lot of factors, just like any other market. In total, I've made about $500 in the past few months.
You're kidding! I'm on. Where do I sign up?
So, Marco, you have to explain this to me. We're talking about currency today. So every nation has a currency. For example, in the dialogue, we learned that India has rupees.
Pounds are in Britain.
Britain has pounds, and Australia has Australian dollars. America has American dollars. But you just said earlier that Ecuador has American dollars too.
That's right. Actually, Ecuador went through a very difficult economic situation in late 1998, early 1999, where there was hyperinflation. So basically, there was an inflation that was very, very, very large.
So that means that the old currency lost its value very fast.
Exactly. So, for example, if the currency before in Ecuador used to be sucres. So if 10 sucres was $1, all of a sudden it was 50 sucres was $1.
Oh, wow.
So, and it got to the point where goods and services went from 3,000 to $1 to 25,000 to $1.
Oh, okay. So people have bags full of money and it's not really worth anything anymore.
Exactly. So what happened was the central bank couldn't absorb this currency depreciation. They couldn't really regulate prices. Obviously, salaries were about the same, so you have a lot less money comparatively. And so the government decided that there were two options. Either they would follow Argentina's example, what they did a couple of years before, and set a fixed rate. So in Argentina, it's 3 pesos to $1. Or we would just get rid of our currency and just use US dollars.
So that's what they did, right?
They use US dollars, and now if you ever travel to Ecuador, you will use US dollars. The same exact bills that you use in the US are the same exact bills in Ecuador.
So no need to exchange currency.
No need to exchange currency, and that's why I guess there are many factors that people say are a lot better. For example, trading has become a lot less complicated because now you're negotiating in US dollars as in everywhere else in the world. But then other things, as you know, not having a national currency also affect. So there are a lot of things going on, but it's an interesting topic.
Very interesting. Well, so maybe for those of you who are listening, you could tell us about your country and your currency. What do you use? What do you spend money on? And do people buy and trade currencies where you're from?
Exactly. Or maybe you can even enlighten us with with the exchange rate. Maybe usually it's a good question to ask, how much is a liter of milk? Or how much is a haircut?
Right, because these are things that everyone needs, so the price doesn't change that much.
Exactly. We're really curious to know how inexpensive or maybe very expensive your country is. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Something is usual or expected. Norm. The money that a country uses. Currency. The sum of money required to reinstate. Margin deposit. Taking effect rapidly. Drastically. Very quickly, just a second. Split second. An offer to pay a particular amount of money. Bid.
Let's try that faster.
The sum of money required to reinstate. Margin deposit. Something is usual or expected. Norm. Very quickly, just a second. Split second. An offer to pay a particular amount of money. Bid. Taking effect rapidly. Drastically. The money that a country uses. Currency.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Norm. What's the norm in this company concerning protocol? Norm. This is the norm, so you'd better get used to it. Norm. Delivery, McDonald's, and street vendors are the norms around here. Currency. Before I went to France, I had to change some of my Canadian currency into euros. Currency. What's the currency in this country? Currency. My country's currency is worth next to nothing in USD. Margin deposit. He decided to start with a margin deposit of GBP 100. Margin deposit. I can't believe that I can trade with USD 1 million deposit when I've only put in a margin deposit of USD 10,000. Margin deposit. One has to be careful with trading using a margin deposit because the risk of losing more money than one has are high. Split second. The gang members were closing in on me fast, so I made a split-second decision to run instead of fight. Split second. My heart pounded as I made a split-second decision and took hold of her hand. Split second. My split-second decision to try a trick on my bicycle in order to impress my friends didn't end well. Bid. The current bid ask for EUR/USD is 1.3998-79. Bid. I bought euros at an ask of $1.4235 and sold British pounds at a bid of $1.5001. Bid. The bid for Japanese yen and the ask for Hong Kong dollars are really good right now if you trade in US currency.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Something is usual or expected. Norm. The money that a country uses. Currency. The sum of money required to reinstate. Margin deposit. Taking effect rapidly. Drastically. Very quickly, just a second. Split second. An offer to pay a particular amount of money. Bid.
Let's try that faster.
The sum of money required to reinstate. Margin deposit. Something is usual or expected. Norm. Very quickly, just a second. Split second. An offer to pay a particular amount of money. Bid. Taking effect rapidly. Drastically. The money that a country uses. Currency.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Norm. What's the norm in this company concerning protocol? Norm. This is the norm, so you'd better get used to it. Norm. Delivery, McDonald's, and street vendors are the norms around here. Currency. Before I went to France, I had to change some of my Canadian currency into euros. Currency. What's the currency in this country? Currency. My country's currency is worth next to nothing in USD. Margin deposit. He decided to start with a margin deposit of GBP 100. Margin deposit. I can't believe that I can trade with USD 1 million deposit when I've only put in a margin deposit of USD 10,000. Margin deposit. One has to be careful with trading using a margin deposit because the risk of losing more money than one has are high. Split second. The gang members were closing in on me fast, so I made a split-second decision to run instead of fight. Split second. My heart pounded as I made a split-second decision and took hold of her hand. Split second. My split-second decision to try a trick on my bicycle in order to impress my friends didn't end well. Bid. The current bid ask for EUR/USD is 1.3998-79. Bid. I bought euros at an ask of $1.4235 and sold British pounds at a bid of $1.5001. Bid. The bid for Japanese yen and the ask for Hong Kong dollars are really good right now if you trade in US currency.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Something is usual or expected. Norm. The money that a country uses. Currency. The sum of money required to reinstate. Margin deposit. Taking effect rapidly. Drastically. Very quickly, just a second. Split second. An offer to pay a particular amount of money. Bid.
Let's try that faster.
The sum of money required to reinstate. Margin deposit. Something is usual or expected. Norm. Very quickly, just a second. Split second. An offer to pay a particular amount of money. Bid. Taking effect rapidly. Drastically. The money that a country uses. Currency.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Norm. What's the norm in this company concerning protocol? Norm. This is the norm, so you'd better get used to it. Norm. Delivery, McDonald's, and street vendors are the norms around here. Currency. Before I went to France, I had to change some of my Canadian currency into euros. Currency. What's the currency in this country? Currency. My country's currency is worth next to nothing in USD. Margin deposit. He decided to start with a margin deposit of GBP 100. Margin deposit. I can't believe that I can trade with USD 1 million deposit when I've only put in a margin deposit of USD 10,000. Margin deposit. One has to be careful with trading using a margin deposit because the risk of losing more money than one has are high. Split second. The gang members were closing in on me fast, so I made a split-second decision to run instead of fight. Split second. My heart pounded as I made a split-second decision and took hold of her hand. Split second. My split-second decision to try a trick on my bicycle in order to impress my friends didn't end well. Bid. The current bid ask for EUR/USD is 1.3998-79. Bid. I bought euros at an ask of $1.4235 and sold British pounds at a bid of $1.5001. Bid. The bid for Japanese yen and the ask for Hong Kong dollars are really good right now if you trade in US currency.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're cutting through the noise to get you well informed on two fascinating interconnected forces shaping our world.
That's right.
The diverse ways we describe people from different nations and, well, the high-stakes realm of global currency trading.
Two big topics.
Exactly. Our mission, as always, is to extract those vital nuggets of knowledge and surprising insights from your sources, giving you a real shortcut to understanding the complex fabric of our global community. So let's jump right in.
Okay, so to start our dive, let's imagine stepping into a classroom that one student vividly described as an international United Nations.
Wow.
Think about it. An incredible array of nationalities, each person bringing, a unique perspective and background.
And your source highlights a powerful lesson from this environment. One student initially faced a significant language barrier. Nobody else spoke English. Sounds incredibly challenging.
Oh, absolutely.
But the advice given was to stay the course, viewing it as a profound opportunity for personal growth and cultural immersion. It really shows how embracing diversity, even when it's tough, pushes us to grow.
It absolutely does. And that diversity extends directly into how we identify people through language. You might assume there's like a consistent rule.
Yeah, you'd think so.
But as our sources show, it's a rich tapestry of patterns and delightful exceptions.
Okay, so let's unpack some common European patterns first. For Germany, it seems quite straightforward. A German person from Germany.
Pretty simple, that one.
But then you hit countries like Poland. What's the interesting linguistic twist there?
Poland's a great example of where the noun and adjective differ. A person from Poland is a Pole.
A Pole, okay.
And that applies whether they're male or female. But the adjective describing something from Poland is Polish, like Polish sausages.
Ah, okay, so you'd say, I am a Pole, but I am Polish.
Exactly. This distinction between the noun for the person and the adjective for the nationality is a recurring theme,
Ah, so not every country gives us just one word. And I'm curious, does that noun-adjective distinction show up elsewhere in Europe?
It does. Scotland, for instance, has Scot or Scotsman as nouns for the person,
Right,
while Scottish is the adjective, as in Scottish whiskey.
got it.
France similarly gives us Frenchman or Frenchwoman, but the adjective is simply French.
Okay.
These highlight how even within one continent, linguistic conventions can vary quite a bit.
Shifting our gaze to other continents then, what patterns emerge? For instance, in South America, are we seeing more consistency?
Generally, yes. In South America, you often find the "an" ending. Someone from Brazil is Brazilian.
Brazilian, right.
And from Chile, they're Chilean. Your source even notes a subtle pronunciation variation some people use for Chilean.
Interesting.
This "on" suffix is quite common globally.
And over in the Pacific, like New Zealand, does that pattern hold?
A person from New Zealand is a New Zealander, fitting that pattern again.
Okay.
But what's truly fascinating, and a great example of cultural self-identification, is their widely used nickname.
Kiwi.
Kiwi. Right, like the bird. Exactly. It comes from a native bird, and New Zealanders proudly refer to themselves as Kiwis. It's a wonderful insight into how a national identity can embrace something so unique to its land.
I love that. Moving to Africa, we see similar patterns, right? Moroccan from Morocco, for example.
Moroccan food.
But then there's Togo. I'm curious, does Togo also follow a common pattern, or is it another interesting outlier?
Togo gives us Togolese. It's one of those that can trip people up with pronunciation as Togo, not to go like the verb.
Ah, good point.
The S suffix, while not as common as N, appears in several other nationalities, like Japanese.
Right.
Often with a similar historical or linguistic root, although it's less predictable than N.
Let's turn to Asia then. Do we see that NT-N pattern continuing, or do new linguistic flavors emerge?
We definitely see the N pattern with Pakistani from Pakistan and Indonesian from Indonesia.
Okay.
South Korea also fits this structural pattern perfectly. A person is a South Korean, just like American or Brazilian.
Yep, structure.
Yeah. The same goes for North Korea, North Korean.
But then we hit Japan. I'm guessing it doesn't follow the N rule?
You're right. Japan is a prime example where the word functions as both noun and adjective without a distinct person-noun form derived from the country name.
So just Japanese.
Exactly. You'd say Japanese person or Japanese food like sushi. It reflects the different linguistic structure.
Interesting.
Similarly, Malaysia gives us Malaysian, fitting the pattern, but Malay can also refer to a specific language or ethnic group, adding another layer.
Ah, so it can be more specific. And Thailand, that seems to be another unique one.
Absolutely. Thailand gives us simply Thai,
Just Thai.
which acts as both the noun and adjective, like Thai food. It's quite concise, doesn't follow the common an or ish patterns. Then Singaporean from Singapore fits the pattern we've seen, the an one.
Okay, now for something that truly stands out, the Philippines. This one has a fascinating historical twist to it, doesn't it?
It certainly does, despite being spelled Philippines.
With a PH.
Right. A man is a Filipino, and a woman is a Filipina with an F.
With an F, why is that?
This unique spelling difference and the gendered nouns are a direct result of Spanish colonization.
Ah, the Spanish influence.
Exactly. It left a deep mark on the language, including how the people are identified. It's a powerful example of how history shapes language.
So language really is a living record of a nation's past. What about the stands of Central Asia? Do they have their own distinct pattern?
Yes, Kazakhstan gives us Kazakhstani, highlighting a common stani ending for countries in that region, especially former USSR stands.
Like Afghanistan?
Exactly. Afghanistan, where people are Afghani, and Pakistan with Pakistani. It's a regional linguistic echo.
Got it. And Russia?
Russia is straightforward. Russian. Like Russian food.
Fascinating. Let's wrap up our nationality tour with some Northern European variations. Any more surprises there?
Well, Ireland gives us Irish, or Irishman, fitting that familiar adjective-noun pair.
Right.
Sweden is Swedish. That's the adjective, and Swede is the noun. You hear Swedish food like salmon.
Swede?
Okay. Finland gives us Finnish, and you'd often emphasize the double N pronunciation.
Lynch.
Yeah. Denmark uses Danish. And then Norway, which consistently uses Norwegian, doesn't quite fit the other patterns neatly.
But the real linguistic outlier, the one that truly breaks almost every mold we've seen, has to be Holland or the Netherlands.
Absolutely. It's truly unique. People from there are Dutch.
Dutch, not Hollander or Netherlander.
Right. You don't hear Hollander or Netherlander. This stems from an older linguistic root and is stuck. You often see it on Dutch-style cookies, that sort of thing.
Ah, right.
It's a fantastic reminder that language is full of these unexpected quirks.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, what does this rich array of nationalities and their linguistic variations tell us about global identity?
Well, it reveals that while we strive for common ground, identity is deeply rooted in language, history, and unique cultural expressions. There's no single universal formula,
No easy rule.
No. Each example offers a tiny window into the soul of a nation, shaped by its history, its sounds, and its unique relationship with the wider world.
And speaking of the way the world connects, that brings us seamlessly from the people of the world to the incredible flow of money that underpins everything they do.
Exactly. Our sources introduce a dialogue about a friend getting into currency trading.
Ah, trading.
This takes us directly to the foreign exchange market, or Forex, the biggest financial market in the world.
Forex. So what exactly is Forex and why is it so significant?
In essence, Forex is where currencies, the money of different countries, are bought and sold.
Like euros, dollars.
Exactly. Euros, US dollars, British pounds, Indian rupees, Swiss francs, Australian dollars, Hong Kong dollars, Chinese renminbi, and many others. Trading in this context isn't about manufacturing goods.
Right.
It's the act of exchanging one currency for another, basically betting on how their values will move relative to each other.
And this happens for huge reasons, right? Trade, tourism.
Massive reasons. Facilitating international trade, tourism, global investments, and yes, even pure speculation.
It's essentially the lubricant for the entire global economy. Now, the dialogue includes some great everyday phrases. In ages, for example.
Right, and ages just means in a long time, as in, I haven't seen you in ages. Simple as that.
And what have you been up to? Just a casual way to ask.
What have you been doing recently? Yeah, common informal ways people connect.
And then there's on top of the norm, which refers to what's happening in addition to your regular life, like life and kids and work.
The extras?
But for a new trader, understanding something like a margin deposit is absolutely crucial. What does that mean for someone looking to get into Forex?
This is a core concept. A margin deposit is a relatively small percentage of the total amount of currency you intend to buy or sell.
Okay, a small bit up front.
Exactly. It's essentially collateral that allows traders to control and trade much larger sums, sometimes up to 100 times their initial deposit.
Wow, 100 times.
The appeal is clear. You don't have to invest a huge amount to participate, but, and this is key, it also amplifies both potential gains and losses.
Ah, the risk factor.
Big time. It's the leverage that makes the market so accessible and so powerful, but also so risky.
So you can control a lot of money with a little bit of your own. Then there are two key terms for value changes: appreciate and depreciate.
Exactly. When a currency or any asset really increases in value, it appreciates.
Like a house value going up?
Perfect example. A house that appreciated over 40 years, its value went up. The opposite, of course, is depreciate, when its value decreases.
Got it.
In trading, understanding these movements is fundamental, and you'll often hear bid and asking price.
Bid and asking price, like on eBay or something?
Sort of. A bid is an offer to pay a particular amount for something. The asking price is what the seller wants to receive. The difference between the two is the spread.
Just spread, okay.
And that's often where brokers or market makers make their money.
And in a 24-hour market where things move in milliseconds, decisions are often made in a split second.
Mm-hmm.
That phrase means a very quick decision, highlighting the speed and timing crucial to this market.
Absolutely crucial. No time for hesitation. Now, to illustrate just how profound currency can be for an entire nation, let's look at the fascinating case of Ecuador.
Ecuador, okay. What happened there?
In late 1998 and early 1999, Ecuador was battling severe hyperinflation. Their national currency, the sucres, was just plummeting in value.
How bad was it?
We're talking an insane drop from maybe 10 sucres to a US dollar all the way to 25,000 sucres to $1.
25,000, wow.
People were literally carrying bags full of money just to buy basic groceries, and it was worth next to nothing. Can you imagine that?
That's just economic chaos.
It was an extreme and unsustainable situation. So the government faced a monumental decision.
What were the options?
Either try to stabilize their currency by setting a fixed exchange rate, like Argentina had done with 3 pesos to $1, or take the drastic step of completely dollarizing, adopting the US dollar as their official currency.
And they chose dollarization?
They chose the latter, a really radical move.
So today, if you travel to Ecuador, you use US dollars, the exact same bills as in the United States.
That's right.
No need to exchange currency, which must simplify travel and international business.
It definitely simplifies things in that way.
But I'm curious, what are some of the long-term implications of a country just giving up its own national currency? That feels huge.
It is huge. It's a double-edged sword.
Wow.
It brought stability and curbed that hyperinflation.
Which they desperately needed.
Absolutely. But it meant Ecuador essentially surrendered its independent monetary policy. It can't print money to stimulate its economy or devalue its currency to make exports cheaper.
They lose control.
They lose those levers. Their economic fate becomes much more closely tied to the U.S. Federal Reserve's decisions, which are made, with U.S. interests in mind.
Right, not necessarily Ecuador's.
Exactly. It's a powerful, real-world example of the immense value and challenge of a nation's currency.
So what's the real takeaway here about the norm of global economics? How do these individual decisions, like a trader's split-second decision, fit into the broader flow of international finance?
Well, what's truly fascinating is how this seemingly abstract world of global finance directly impacts daily life, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
From the cost of your groceries to the stability of an entire nation like Ecuador. Every trade, every shift in value creates ripples across borders.
The invisible threads connecting everything.
Exactly. It shows us that understanding currency isn't just for traders. It's about understanding those invisible threads connecting every part of our global community.
We've journeyed from the intricate patterns of how we name the people of the world, all those suffixes and exceptions.
The Poles, the Dutch, the Kiwis.
To the dynamic dance of global currencies that underpin our economies. This deep dive has hopefully given you a clearer lens through which to view the linguistic and financial fabric weaving our global community together.
So, as you reflect on the diversity of nationalities and the intricacies of global currencies, maybe consider this. How do the words we choose to define ourselves and the value we assign to our money, how do they both shape our unique identities and simultaneously serve as powerful bridges across borders? What new connections can you draw between language and economy in the interconnected world we live in?